We are walking through Bolshaya Konyushennaya Street, one of the most elegant and historically rich streets in central St. Petersburg, stretching from Nevsky Prospect all the way to the Moika River. This street is lined with beautiful 18th and 19th century buildings that once housed aristocrats, diplomats, and artists. Its name, which translates to Great Stable Street, dates back to the imperial stables that were located nearby, serving the royal court during the Russian Empire. Today, Bolshaya Konyushennaya is known for its calm atmosphere, stylish boutiques, cozy cafes, and rich architectural charm. As you walk along, you'll see a blend of neoclassical and Art Nouveau facades, including the famous Lutheran Church of St. Peter and St. Paul, one of the city's oldest Protestant churches. The street also has a literary connection. Russian authors like Dostoevsky and Nabokov would have passed by here, as it was close to the city's cultural core. It's a perfect place for a peaceful stroll, right in the heart of St. Petersburg, yet slightly off the bustling Nevsky Prospect.
Sağa dönün. Sağa dönün.
Арматуру не надо делать? Рабочий, да, рабочий вот эти, которые лежат.
Now we are at the St. Petersburg State Academic Capella, one of the oldest and most prestigious musical institutions in Russia. The poster you see here announces a special symphonic concert taking place on May 30th, 2025, at 19 o'clock. The concert is titled, "I Am Protected by This City," and will be performed by the Symphony Orchestra of the St. Petersburg Capella. This evocative title hints at a nostalgic and emotional journey through music closely tied to Russian culture and cinema. The evening's program includes works by Isaac Schwartz, featuring music from the beloved film The Ordinary Miracle, compositions by Gary Garonian, and a special narrated performance based on the works of Evgeny Petrov, with a tribute to the legendary actor Viktor Avilov. The orchestra will be conducted by Ivan Stolbov, under the artistic direction of Alexander Ivanov, and the narration will be performed by Vladimir Bogdanov. This event promises to blend music, storytelling, and cultural heritage in a powerful way. On the right, another poster reminds visitors that season subscriptions for the 2025 to 2026 concert series are already available for purchase, inviting classical music lovers to enjoy a full year of performances at this historic venue. Now we are walking along one of the many canals that flow through the heart of St. Petersburg, often called the Venice of the North. The city is built on over 40 islands, connected by nearly 350 bridges and crisscrossed by more than 90 canals and rivers, creating a unique and romantic atmosphere that sets it apart from any other city in Russia. These canals were originally engineered in the 18th century under Peter the Great, who dreamed of transforming the city into a European-style capital. They weren't just for beauty. They played a key role in transportation and trade during the city's early years. Today, they are one of St. Petersburg's most charming features, offering scenic boat tour and peaceful waterside walks. As you stroll alongside them, you'll pass historic embankments, elegant facades, and the reflections of golden domes and pastel buildings shimmering on the water. Each canal has its own character. The Gribodov Canal with its view of the Church of the Saviour on spilled blood, or the Moika Canal flowing beside the Grand Yusupov Palace. Even on a quiet day, there's something magical about the canals. They reflect the rhythm of the city, slow and graceful, inviting you to pause, admire, and take in the beauty of St. Petersburg from the water's edge.
Sola dönün.
Now we are standing in front of one of the most iconic landmarks in all of Russia, the Winter Palace, located in the heart of St. Petersburg. This magnificent building, with its striking green and white facade, golden detailing, and endless rows of windows, is a masterpiece of Elizabethan Baroque architecture. The Winter Palace was originally built between 1754 and 1760 under the reign of Empress Elizabeth Petrovna, the daughter of Peter the Great. The architect behind this opulent structure was Bartolomeo Rostrelli, a legendary Italian architect who played a crucial role in shaping the Russian Baroque style. Rostrelli designed the palace to reflect the imperial grandeur of the Russian monarchy, and he succeeded spectacularly. For over 150 years, the Winter Palace served as the official residence of the Russian Tsars, making it not only a royal home, but also the political heart of the Russian Empire. It witnessed some of the most dramatic events in Russian history, including the storming of the palace during the October Revolution in 1917, which marked the end of imperial rule and the beginning of Soviet power. Today, the Winter Palace is part of the State Hermitage Museum, one of the largest and oldest museums in the world. The Hermitage's collection spans over 3 million pieces, including priceless works by Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Rembrandt, Raphael, and Van Gogh. Only a fraction of this enormous collection is on display at any given time, but even that is enough to spend days wandering through its ornate halls. Just in front of the palace is the vast Palace Square, a historic and symbolic space that has hosted everything from royal parades to revolutionary rallies. At the center of the square stands the Alexander Column, a 47-meter tall monument commemorating Russia's victory over Napoleon. Palace Square is not just a place for tourists and history lovers. It remains a living public space, often used for concerts, celebrations, and national ceremonies. This entire area is more than just beautiful. It's a living museum, a place where Russian imperial history, art, architecture, and culture converge in one breathtaking setting. Being here truly feels like stepping into a chapter of history. And here you can see the arch of the General Staff Building, one of the most iconic neoclassical structures in St. Petersburg, designed by architect Carlo Rossi and completed in the 1820s. This monumental arch commemorates Russia's victory over Napoleon in 1812. It served as the headquarters for the general staff of the Russian army and also housed key ministries of the empire. Today, the building is partly used by the Hermitage Museum, showcasing modern and contemporary art. Walking through this arch leads you directly into Palace Square, right across from the Winter Palace.
Sola dönün.
Ты еще не собираешься вообще? А ты тут в метро отдыхал. Я рада.
Now we are walking near one of St. Petersburg's iconic trolleybuses, a key part of the city's public transport system since the Soviet era. These electric buses, powered by overhead cables, have been operating in the city since 1936, making St. Petersburg one of the first cities in the USSR to adopt this clean and quiet mode of transportation. Unlike regular buses, trolleybuses run on electricity, making them environmentally friendly and relatively quiet as they glide through the city streets. They are especially common in the historical centre, where they weave between grand imperial buildings and across stone bridges with a nostalgic hum. Riding one of these trolleybuses is like stepping back in time. Many locals still remember the vintage models from the 1960s and 70s, though today most have been upgraded to modern, comfortable versions. They are also an affordable and scenic way to explore the city, often following routes that pass famous landmarks like Nevsky Prospect, Palace Square, and the Admiralty. While some routes have been replaced by modern buses or trams, trolleybuses remain a beloved symbol of daily life in St. Petersburg, steady, reliable, and deeply tied to the rhythm of the city.
Batı yönünde ilerleyin.
Now we are walking past a street poster for an upcoming concert by the Russian pop rock artist Shaman. The bold text reads, which means victory, likely the name of his new tour or show. This concert will take place at the Ice Palace, a major indoor arena here in St. Petersburg. You can see the ticket website artzvezdy.ru at the top of the poster, along with a contact number for reservations. The age rating is marked as 6+, making it a family-friendly event. Shaman is known for his patriotic and emotionally powerful music, and his concerts usually draw large crowds across Russia. Now we're standing in front of one of the most majestic landmarks in St. Petersburg, St. Isaac's Cathedral. This monumental structure is not just a church. It's a masterpiece of 19th century Russian architecture, and one of the largest Orthodox cathedrals in the world, designed by French architect Auguste de Montferrand. It took over 40 years to complete, finally opening in 1858 during the reign of Tsar Alexander II. The building is dedicated to St. Isaac of Dalmatia, the patron saint of Peter the Great, who founded the city. The most striking feature of the cathedral is its massive golden dome, which rises over 100 meters high and is covered with more than 100 kilograms of pure gold. You can spot it from nearly anywhere in the city skyline. The interior is equally breathtaking, filled with marble columns, mosaics, granite sculptures, and over 400 artworks, including paintings and icons. Everything inside was created by some of Russia's most prominent artists of the time. During the Soviet era, the cathedral was converted into a museum of atheism, and religious services were stopped. Today, it remains a museum open to the public, though religious services are occasionally held here, especially on major Orthodox holidays. And yes, if you're feeling energetic, you can climb nearly 300 steps to the observation deck around the dome, offering a spectacular panoramic view of St. Petersburg's rooftops, riverfronts, and historic streets. This is more than just a cathedral. It's a symbol of the city's imperial grandeur and enduring cultural spirit.
Sağa dönün. Sola dönün. Sağa dönün.
Можно выбрать, где поесть. Tam sola dönün.
Now as we walk through yet another green area, I'm genuinely surprised by how many parks there are in St. Petersburg. This city is much greener than I expected. Despite its image as a classical stone-built imperial capital, St. Petersburg is home to over 200 parks and gardens, ranging from vast royal landscapes to cozy neighborhood retreats. Everywhere you go, there's a peaceful green corner, from the sprawling summer garden, originally designed by Peter the Great in the 18th century, to modern parks filled with playgrounds, walking paths, and flower beds. Even in the heart of the city, you're never too far from trees, water, and quiet spots to relax. Some parks, like Yelagin Island Park, feel more like natural reserves, with forests, lakes, and even deer roaming in the distance. Others, like Tauride Garden or Field of Mars, are perfect for reading a book, people watching, or enjoying a quiet walk by the canal. This balance of imperial architecture and lush greenery really shapes the character of St. Petersburg. It's not just a museum city, it's a living, breathing space where nature and history exist side by side.
Sola dönün.
Now we're standing in front of one of the most iconic landmarks in St. Petersburg, the Bronze Horseman, a powerful equestrian statue of Peter the Great, the founder of the city, commissioned by Empress Catherine the Great in 1768. This monument was her way of honoring Peter I, while also asserting her connection to his legacy. The statue was completed and unveiled in 1782, and the inscription carved into the granite base reads, "To Peter I from Catherine II, 1782. The statue was created by the French sculptor Etienne Maurice Falconet, who worked for over a decade on the project. Peter is shown heroically riding a rearing horse, symbolizing Russia's forward movement under his leadership. Underneath the horse's hooves, you'll notice a serpent. It represents the enemies of Peter's reforms, being crushed by the unstoppable progress he brought to the Russian Empire. The pedestal beneath the statue is just as legendary. Known as the Thunderstone, it is believed to be the largest stone ever moved by humans. Transporting it from a marsh outside the city to this spot was a major engineering feat in the 18th century. The statue later became immortalized in Russian literature through Alexander Pushkin's famous narrative poem, The Bronze Horseman, which gave the monument its popular name and turned it into a symbol of both imperial power and emotional struggle tied to the city itself. Standing here, with the Neva River nearby and St. Isaac's Cathedral just a short walk away, you really feel the presence of history and the spirit of Peter the Great watching over his city.
Забытые острова, Петергоф, фестивали,
Now we are walking along the banks of the Bolshaya Neva, one of the main branches of the mighty Neva River that flows through the heart of St. Petersburg. While the Neva itself may not be a long river, stretching just around 74 kilometers, it is immensely important. It carries water from Lake Ladoga into the Gulf of Finland and has helped shape the very foundation of this city. The Bolshaya Neva, or Greater Neva, branches off near the Admiralty and flows around Vasilevsky Island, creating a dramatic and picturesque waterway bordered by some of the city's most iconic sites. From here, you can see grand imperial facades, historic palaces, and domes rising above the river, all beautifully reflected in the slow-moving water. In the 18th and 19th centuries, this waterway was buzzing with life. Cargo boats, imperial barges, and even warships passed through here. Today, the Bolshaya Neva remains active with tourist boats, river tramps, and cargo vessels, all moving peacefully beneath a series of beautifully designed bridges, including the famous Blagovshinsky Bridge, the city's oldest permanent bridge across the Neva. Standing beside this river, it's easy to understand why Peter the Great chose this site for his northern capital. The Bolshaya Neva isn't just a body of water. It's a living part of St. Petersburg's identity, carrying history, culture, and daily life along with its currents.
Sağa dönün.
Пришла, не успела передо мной переносить.
Sola dönün. Sağa dönün.
Нельзя по газонам бегать.
Now we've arrived at one of the most creative and revitalized spaces in St. Petersburg, New Holland Island. Nestled in the heart of the city, this historic artificial island has transformed from a closed military zone into a vibrant public cultural space. New Holland Island was created in 1719, during the reign of Peter the Great, who was deeply inspired by Dutch shipbuilding. That's actually where the name comes from. New Holland reflects both the Dutch influence on Russian naval design and the canal layout of the area, which resembles the Dutch city of Amsterdam. Originally, the island served as a naval storage and shipyard area, used by the Imperial Russian Navy to dry lumber and store materials. For most of its history, the island was strictly off limits to the public. It remained under military control for nearly 300 years, housing warehouses, prisons, and administrative buildings. But in the early 21st century, things began to change. In the 2010s, a major redevelopment project began, led by a private foundation under the direction of Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich. The goal was to preserve the island's architectural heritage while turning it into a modern urban space for culture, art, food, and relaxation. Today, New Holland Island features beautifully restored 18th century brick buildings, public art installations, exhibition spaces, trendy cafes and restaurants, and even a skating rink in winter and open-air cinema in summer. The central landmark here is the Bottle House, a circular building that once held naval barracks, now repurposed to host boutique shops, galleries, and co-working spaces. Surrounding it, the island's open lawns and paths invite locals and tourists alike to relax, picnic, or attend seasonal festivals and concerts. New Holland Island is a shining example of how St. Petersburg is evolving, blending its rich historical legacy with contemporary creativity. It's a favorite gathering place for young people, families, artists, and anyone who wants to experience a modern, laid-back side of this grand, imperial city. Right in the heart of New Holland Island, you'll find a shimmering circular pool, surrounded by open lawns and architectural charm. This pool is more than just a decorative feature. It serves as a serene focal point of the island's modern design and reflects the balance between history and relaxation that defines this space. Originally, this area was part of the old shipyard grounds. Today, it has been reimagined as a tranquil water feature that mirrors the historic red brick facades around it. The pool is shallow and still, making it feel like a calm mirror that draws your eye and invites quiet reflection amid the lively surroundings. In warmer months, people gather around its edges to sit, read, or just enjoy the gentle breeze, while children often dip their toes and play near the water. At night, the pool is softly illuminated, creating a magical atmosphere, especially when the surrounding buildings and trees are also lit up. In the winter, it transforms into a cozy ice skating rink, adding seasonal charm and making the island an all-year destination. The pool beautifully complements the island's concept, peaceful yet vibrant, historic yet modern. It stands as a symbol of how thoughtfully New Holland Island has been reimagined, not just as a cultural space, but as a living, breathing part of urban life in St. Petersburg.
Ух ты, ты так взрослый, да? Ой, молодец. Пойдем там. Застегнутые, вообще без запаха. Шутишь, что ли? Буквально просто вот в вакууме нахожу. Даже раз на нее постоянно. Просто смотря на него.
Заканчивайте переход.
Now we are walking along Ulitsa Dekabristov, a historic and quietly atmospheric street in St. Petersburg that carries the weight of political history and cultural depth. Its name, which translates to Street of the Decembrists, commemorates the Decembrist uprising of 1825, when a group of young Russian officers staged a revolt against the autocratic rule of Tsar Nicholas I, right here in this very city. Though the revolt was ultimately crushed, the Decembrists became enduring symbols of revolutionary spirit and political idealism in Russian history. And this street keeps their memory alive. Ulitsa Dekabristov stretches through the Admiraltysky district, and while it may not be as grand as Nevsky Prospect or lined with palaces, it offers a more intimate and authentic glimpse into St. Petersburg's layered soul. The street is flanked by pre-revolutionary buildings, quiet courtyards, and a mixture of residential homes and cultural institutions, many of which are decorated with beautiful old facades and intricate details. If you take the time to look up, one of the street's most famous landmarks is the Mariinsky Theatre, just a few steps away, one of the world's most prestigious venues for opera and ballet. Many visitors walk this very street on their way to see a performance, unknowingly retracing the steps of generations of artists, aristocrats, and thinkers. There's also a quiet beauty to the street's character, less touristy, more lived in. Locals pass by calmly, small cafes and bakeries dot the edges, and you can still feel a sense of old Petersburg, just beneath the modern rhythm of life. Walking down Ulitsa Dekabristov is like peeling back a layer of the city. You're not just exploring streets, you're walking through memory, revolution, and culture that shaped modern Russia. Now we are walking along Naberezhnaya Kryukova Kanala, the embankment of the Kryukov Canal, one of St. Petersburg's most atmospheric and picturesque waterways. This canal may not be as wide or famous as the Neva, but it holds a quiet elegance and historical charm that gives it a special place in the city's identity. It was dug in the 1730s as part of a major expansion of St. Petersburg's canal network, intended to drain marshy land and provide efficient transport routes for cargo and people. The canal stretches just under 2 kilometers, passing through the heart of the Admiraltysky district, and is lined with charming old bridges, graceful embankments, and historic buildings that echo the city's imperial past. Walking along it feels like stepping into a storybook. The reflections of pastel facades ripple across the water, while iron railings, granite steps, and street lamps complete the classic Petersburg look. This area is also rich in cultural landmarks. Just a short stroll away is the Mariinsky Theatre, a crown jewel of global performing arts. The Kryukov Canal has long guided visitors to this world-famous venue, and you can almost imagine carriages rolling down this very embankment in the 19th century, carrying nobility to an evening of opera or ballet. What makes this walk so special is the peaceful rhythm of it. Unlike the busier main avenues, this embankment feels more intimate. Locals walking their dogs, friends chatting on benches, the occasional canal boat gently floating by, and the canal itself, though narrow, plays an important role in the city's identity. It connects to both the Fontanka River and the Moika River, forming part of the intricate network that gives St. Petersburg its nickname, the Venice of the North. Whether you're here for history, architecture, or just a peaceful escape from the crowds, the Kryukov Canal and its embankment offer a glimpse of St. Petersburg at its most poetic and timeless.
Мы проходим рядом с созданием знаменитого Мариинского театра. Его можно узнать по белому камню окон, белому декора и светлому.
Now we are walking through the peaceful garden paths leading up to St. Nicholas Naval Cathedral, one of the most beautiful and historic churches in St. Petersburg. Built in the mid-18th century in elegant Baroque style, this cathedral was dedicated to St. Nicholas, the patron saint of sailors, and served as the spiritual heart of the Russian Navy. Its striking blue facade, adorned with white columns and crowned by 5 golden domes, stands out as a symbol of both grace and strength. Even today, the cathedral continues to hold naval memorial services and remains a beloved place of worship and reflection for locals and visitors alike. Thank you for watching. See you in the next videos.